These are the few available pictures of the March 2nd bombing by the Colombian army of a dissident faction of FARC rebels in southwest Colombia, in which human rights groups say up to 12 minors could have been killed. One teenager is known to have died.
En una operación conjunta.
The government acknowledges there were young people at the rebel camp, but not that children were among those killed. Defense Minister Diego Molano has added to public outrage, saying that any young victim should be regarded as a machine of war, while insisting the operation followed international protocols.
It's
clear under international law that recruited minors are victims, but after being trained and prepared, they become young combatants with the attitude and disposition of affecting life and generating terror against the population. We can't afford that many criminals who started as guerrillas at 13 then committed all sorts of crimes.
But opposition politicians say that if confirmed, the killings are shameful and that the minister should resign.
Throwing bombs over defenseless children, victims of forced recruitment who are sleeping in a camp, is a clear violation of the principle of proportionality. It's not a military triumph, it's a failure of the state.
This is not the first time the government of President Iván Duque has been criticized for its use of force in its effort to thwart dissident rebels and drug trafficking groups. In 2019, then Defense Minister Guillermo Botero was forced to resign after several children were killed in a similar strike. Incidents like this one were often the norm during the worst years of Colombia's civil conflict, with deaths even of minors considered collateral damage. But since the signing of a peace deal in 2016, Colombians have become less prone to accept them. A recent report shows that more than 200 minors were recruited last year alone. Political analyst Sergio GUZMAN says public outrage is important, but will not be enough to prevent this from happening again.
The structural problem is the lack of state presence in rural areas. On top of that, the pandemic and the closure of public schools. So it's important to recognize that the recruitment of these child minors is a crime against humanity, but also the state has done a huge disservice to them.
If confirmed, these deaths promise to reignite accusations of human rights abuses in a country still reeling from decades of war. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogota.